Hello, hello, Earth Angels. Welcome to this episode 3 of the Devotional Drip, a series where we explore and experience a deeper, more devotional connection to our higher selves across the personal and professional altars of our life. You may notice my videos looking a little more mwah, mwah, mwah today. That is in deep gratitude and thanks to my dear client, Serena, who so lovingly mailed me her favorite webcam. So we're looking glam, we're looking fresh, we're looking clean. We got the HD video popping. These videos are only going to get better as I continue to create them. And actually, this may be the last time that I record a devotional drip on a new moon or on a full moon. I'm wanting to transition this series to a weekly series, and the videos are going to be a little bit shorter. And my intention is just to have a devotional drip go out weekly that supports you in your regular weekly practice, no matter if the moon is new or full or what have you. So just for some transparency, like this series is going to evolve as I evolve, and just like any project evolves, like, can we give ourselves permission to just start and then see where it goes? I know for myself, as a recovering perfectionist, that permission feels really, really good in my body. So I'm just putting that in practice, leading by example. I hope that you have enjoyed the series so far. I love getting all of your messages. It's been so amazing to hear from past clients and new folks coming in and joining the Blood, Bone, and Honey community. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Sarah. I am a higher self embodiment doula, consultant, coach, creative, and I support my clients in embodying their higher selves in their personal lives, in their professional lives. And I specifically work with heart-centered entrepreneurs, visionary entrepreneurs, creatives, and folks who really have a heart on fire with desire to show up and serve their highest divine purpose while meeting the call of their soul and their higher self to heal and transform and evolve and ascend. We have a lot of folks in this community who are really like in their courageous vulnerability, meeting and transmuting and transcending old ancestral and familial patterns, learned behavior, complex trauma, etc. So we got some badass witches and earth angels in this coven. So welcome, you are in good company. And I'm so excited to share today's devotional drip with you. So on today's devotional drip, we're going to be exploring the invitation of personal transformation. So we may talk a lot about personal transformation, you know, in the coaching space, in the healing space, in the spiritual space, in the trauma space. And so today I want to breathe some fresh air into the conversation of transformation. And my goal with this drip is to leave you in a place of being excited to meet the transformation that's calling you versus like in resistance and in discomfort, which can often come up when we're being called to transform, evolve, grow, and ascend. So I did channel this transmission around the Aries 2021 full moon. So there is this essence of fire and passion and motivation and direct, confident becoming an action. Aries is a cardinal sign that not only kicks off the spring season in Aries season, but also it's the first sign in the zodiac wheel. Some say that Aries leads with no prior inherited wisdom, as it is the first sign in the zodiac. But in my personal experience, Aries resonates for me as this primordial, original, I am. This is who I am. I am essence, who hasn't forgotten that they have the power to create whatever it is that they want for their life, resourcing their own self-sourced energy. So from a confident place, from a place of knowing and their atoms, like quite literally remembering and dancing with the memory of this powerful source essence that we come from. Aries really holds that potency for me. And a phrase that was coming through as I was channeling this is, and before I even pulled the cards today, and it's just so perfectly matches up, so I'm just going to introduce it and put it on the altar, is let the fires burn until you get to you. So let the fires of transformation burn off all of these old layers, all of this old slush and sludge and density until you get to you. It's like I'm seeing, like, you know, ripping and tearing through the veil and shedding and just all of this like gunk falling off. And like the you that's revealed within is the invitation I'm going to offer today, and is the invitation that I feel from this Aries full moon at a particularly intense time of personal and global ascension, transition, and transformation. So let's just jump right in and apply this to the 3 cards that I pulled for us today. So first card, literally, transformation. You can't make it up, you know, like we got the fires of transformation. Let the fires of transformation burn until you get to you. So we're going to speak to transformation today as inner alchemy to outer expression. So the inner transformation that you meet the call of, that then creates the external shift. I may say this on every devotional drip because it's just something that I live by. As above, so below. As within, so without. So as the inner transformation occurs, the outer transformation occurs in response. As above, so below. As within, so without. If you're like me, this last retrograde transition maybe wrung you out, and chances are there's some transformation at play here. With every ending comes a new beginning. Can we lean deeper and trust the process of transformation? Resisting transformation is going to make it harder. Resistance makes anything harder. Resistance is also an invitation into surrender, into presence. If you're resisting the transformation, if you're resisting what's calling you, you're probably going to end up doing a lot of overworking and almost like pain management, symptom management, instead of listening to the call of the transformation, getting in, getting to the root, and just doing the thing that may feel uncomfortable in the moment. It may even feel painful in the moment, but it's going to save you pain down the road. Because when you've actually outgrown this current incarnation, this current like identity, this current way of being in relationship to yourself, others, and the world, it can be really painful to keep trying to shove these parts of you that are trying to express, grow, and get bigger into like this smaller, shrunken version of yourself. So trust the holy burn of the transformation. Let it burn. Just like if you were building new muscles, like when you're in that plank, like you're going to shake. Trust the shake, trust the burn, trust the transformation, trust the strength that's being built in that holy shake. When that shake is happening, when the transformation is occurring, there's going to be a purging. There's going to be a release of the impurities. There's going to be a release of that which no longer matches where you're going in consciousness and in frequency and in vibration. Let the old layers of you shed. Let the impurities go. Let the gunk go, Surrender it, lean into the transformation until you get to you. And let the warmth of this transformation, the warmth of your higher self awareness, meet the parts of you that have maybe been frozen and stuck. Where are you freezing? Where are you resisting the transformation? Where can you bring more breath, more warmth, more awareness, more consciousness, more surrender, more humility, more humbleness, more willingness? What is currently asking to be unfrozen and dislodged and turned into ash right in front of you? What outdated identity are you stepping out of, shedding, releasing, and sending off with well wishes and blessings of love? A thank you to these past versions, these past incarnations, these past iterations of self. Thanking them for the way that they served you, for the way that they kept you safe, and acknowledging like, wow, that identity, that version of self is actually no longer keeping me safe, no longer serving me. It's actually blocking me from the transformation that's calling me. I'm not going to judge that version of self, but I am going to send it off with love. How much more can you lean in and trust the process of lovingly letting go? I'm going to introduce our next ally to support this transformation. How perfect. The butterfly, which I tried to really hold in my glamour today when I got dressed for this devotional drip. So like our friend here, the butterfly, we have to be willing to devolve into the chrysalis and turn into almost nothingness. I call this the sovereignty of slop inside of my group program, Emergence, where we actually use the butterfly as a sacred ally to support us in meeting transformation and transition. When working with the butterfly, we ask, how is this transformation? How is this holy burn, this sacred rub? How is this happening for me? How is this happening for me? Versus getting in that martyr victim consciousness of, oh, this is all just happening to me and this is all so hard. Like, can you like even hear the restriction in my throat? Like, that's the energy of the resistance. When your jaw is clenched, when you're not breathing, when you're not present, when you're letting the mind over intellectualize the transformation versus leaning in and trusting through your body, the transformation is so much harder. We have to be willing to devolve into the chrysalis, to turn into the sovereignty of slop, of nothingness, almost all of the organs dissolving. To ask like, wow, how is this happening for me versus how is this happening to me? The 3 codes that we used during this program were recognize, alchemize, and emerge. So these were the codes, let me clarify that. These were the codes that we used during my program Emergence that I just want to introduce here because they're so, so powerful. So we used recognize, alchemize, and emerge. So when working with the butterfly, recognizing the change that's actually calling us. What's the change that's actually calling you? What's actually ready to end? How can you honor how it has served you? Again, sending that off with love, how it has served you in your caterpillar journey and evolution thus far. It's like, okay, this is the change that's calling me. This is the identity that's no longer resonating. These are the habits. These are the patterns. These are the ways of being in relationship with myself, others in the world, and my mission that are no longer resonating. Where can I recognize, be in my power, be in my higher self-authority, be in my agency to recognize the change that's calling me versus feeling dragged around by the neck? Where can I recognize in my authority so I can actually meet it, the transformation that's calling me? Where can I honor? How can I honor that it served me? So not judging it. Some people will recognize the change, but then they'll get caught in the judging the incarnation of self or the expression of self that they're currently transforming, and we can't actually transform from judgment. Transformation can only happen from compassion. So recognizing in compassion the change that's calling you so that you can then alchemize the emotion, the energy in motion that's actually attached like a code, it's almost like a layover or it's like a filter that's on top of this transformation. So you can alchemize this energy in motion attached to this transformation as you devolve into the chrysalis, as you let everything go, as you let the past incarnations of you go. You have to let the energy go. You have to let the energy alchemize. You have to create space for release. So maybe this comes forward in a scream, in a yell, in a moan. Maybe you use the higher self embodiment movement prompts that are linked below in the description to support you in actually moving the energy in motion, the emotion. You have to move that energy. The way that we alchemize it is by actually meeting it in presence without judgment, so that the energy then can transform and you can create spaciousness, clarity, and perspective. And almost from this place of like emptiness, humbleness, willingness, presence with self, higher self, and source. We can then from that place grow our new wings in consciousness and actually emerge anew. But we have to recognize, we have to alchemize before we can actually emerge. So as my private clients know who have gone through this transmission with the butterfly with me, they know that when the butterfly emerges, the wings are wet and you actually need a safe space to land following that transformation. So it's not like we go through the transformation and then we're immediately ready to express. Perhaps there's this transformation that's calling you, and this transformation is going to take you into a season of transformation. It's going to take you between, now and the end of the year, or maybe the transformation is happening between this Aries full moon and Aries season in the spring. Like, what is this larger, greater transformation that's calling you? Since we have the energy of fire showing up and also the energy of air, we've got fire plus air equals bigger fire. So I'm feeling like the transformation that's calling you might be a really fucking big one right now, and if you're looking for support through this transformation and this transition, I'm going to be opening up enrollment for my private mentorship program next month in November. I'll be booking free clarity calls, and the application process will be open. So if you want to get in on that, if you want to receive like a private invitation from me to apply, if you're like, this message is really hitting and I am like ready to go through this metamorphosis, I'm ready to go through this transformation, I know that I need support, and I want support deeper, like that Aries wanting. I want support as I walk through this. I love myself enough to give myself the level of support that I'm actually craving. You can comment below. You can send me an email, Sarah with an H at bloodboneandhoney.com. You can send me a DM. Reach out, let me know so that I can keep you in the loop and let you know as soon as the spots open, because I only take a couple of people at a time because we really go in deep. So it's a very small cohort, very small coven. So let me know if you want to be a part of that. Okay, so like I said, as my private clients know who have gone through this experience, when you actually transform, when you evolve, when you grow the new wings, there's some fragileness, there's some newness, I'm learning how to use these wings. I've got to dry them off in the sun. I'm going to test them out. So this card is also speaking to the solo time required, the self-care time required, the time with you, your higher self and source with no interruption, where you're just really going in and investigating like, what is here for me? And that is the purpose of these prompts that I'm offering within the Devotional Drip series. So again, below in the description, you can go to my blog. You're going to get journal prompts. You're going to get movement prompts, and really, really sit with those. Actually sit with those. Get quiet enough, get present enough to let what is uniquely coming forward for you through your own higher self channel come through, so that you can meet this transformation in presence with your wisdom, with the guidance and support of your higher self, with the resourcing of source. I wrote this somewhere else in this transmission, but I want to introduce it now. The other day in class, my yoga teacher, Nina, said, let the light be bigger than what you know. we were specifically working with the third eye, and she was like, let the light be bigger than what you know. And this is such a potent invitation for me personally, because I know I can tend to over intellectualize, especially when it comes to transformation. I'll go into over intellectualizing and trying to think my way through a transition, through a metamorphosis, versus feeling my way through. Like if we think of the butterfly, like in the chrysalis, like it's dark, like everything's dissolving. Like there's a feeling wisdom, there's a trusting, there's a faithfulness. There's a resourcing of that divine, loving consciousness that we are never not connected to, even if the illusion of the mind and ego would have us in a separation consciousness state. We are never separate, even if we think we are. That is the good fucking news of our sovereignty. We're never separate from this divine, loving energy. We can't actually be, even if we've temporarily fallen into a state of amnesia and forgetfulness, which happens all the time. That's the courageous human journey of embodying both our humanity and our divinity, right? It's the remembering. It's the constant remembering and awakening that's just never ending and always happening. The metamorphosis, the transformation, the burning off of the impurities in order to reveal more of our own light, that's always happening. So let the light be brighter than what you know. Let this inner light be brighter than what you know. When you go into your movement, when you go into your journaling, like connect to that inner light right from the light. See if you can, like, with each prompt, like really connect to that light and let that light guide you, and let the light be brighter than what you know. Be humble enough to really like receive the guidance from your higher self and source. It requires such humbleness. It requires such willingness. It requires us to consecrate, as we talked about in the last devotional drip, the free will of our own humanity to the high will, it requires us to consecrate our free will to the divine will of our higher selves. So our free will would have us do a million different things. We can do all the things. What would the divine will of your higher self have you do? What path of transformation would your higher self have you walk? Okay, I'm going to re-anchor into my notes here. So you don't grow the wings and then immediately start flying all over the place. It's a tender process. Not all butterflies survive. So what conditions do you need to create for yourself, for your own transformation, to ensure like your own wing growth, wing spread, flight that you want to take? Let the butterfly really bring you to the altar of the big burn. Where can you go beyond your discomfort and lean in? Where can you not let the discomfort be a stop sign, but actually an invitation to connect deeper to your body, your breath, and your higher self? There's wisdom in the process of transformation. We have life and death. We have cycles. We have seasons. We have evolution. Let go of trying to intellectualize it and feel it like in your belly. Let your self-care practice support you like a cocoon. Out of balance, the butterfly is fragile and frustrated. In balance, they're excited, ready, and willing to meet the transformation. A daily routine, something that's done at the same time every day, no matter what, can be really supportive. It can act like a cocoon to the facilitation of your transformation. Again, this is something that I support my clients in doing inside of private mentorship. So if that sounds interesting, holler at me, let me know. Commit to 1 or 2 things per day done at the same time and the same place to support your process of self-regulation, self-agency, maturity, spiritual maturity, that inner father, inner mother, inner parenting frequency of your higher self, and be like, yes, the change is calling me. So in order to actually meet it and to respect myself and resource myself through the process, I'm going to create a cocoon for myself in the form of consistency and in the form of a daily practice. Also right now, and this won't always be forever, so get it while the getting's good. When you join my newsletter, you get a free higher self-care practice called the 7 Sacred Embodiment Pillars that will one day very soon be transitioning into the 7 pillars of higher self-embodiment. This is a free higher self-care practice. It's a process. It takes you through a whole surrender, devolve to evolve process. So if you've already joined my newsletter, search from sarah@bloodboneandhoney.com. It's probably way back in your email inbox. And if you have not joined my newsletter yet, you can also do that at the link below, and you will receive that higher self-care practice as well as the prompts that are waiting for you on the Devotional Drip blog series. Okay. In the spirit of consistency, I also want to introduce something that's not a card that I pulled for our Sacred Allies today, but actually tapas, which is one of the 5 niyamas in the 10 yamas and niyamas that are part of the 8 limbs of yoga. These are suggestions and instructions on how to best relate to ourselves and other sentient beings. And what I want to say about tapas specifically is the way that it brings us into the resonance of self-discipline. So self-discipleship, discipling our own consciousness as it moves forward and evolves, the purification associated with tapas. It's a burning effort under all circumstances to achieve a goal. It's that holy wanting of Aries, that holy fire, the divine, the divinity within us, our higher selves, quite literally lighting a fire under our own asses to get going. Tapas is the conscious effort to achieve ultimate union with the divine through being devoted and consistent action towards a goal, what it is that we actually want, really assigning and holding the holiness of our desire and wanting as divinely signed, sealed, and delivered. Like honoring our desire, honoring the sacredness of our wants so much that we will do whatever we need to do in order to make that happen. Again, it's like the parent looking out for the child. It's like the parent really doing whatever needs to be done in order to care for and provide support for that child. Your higher self will ask you to walk through some holy fires of discomfort in this process. Straight up. Transformation, in order to embody more of your own light, this thing that we call ascension, is going to ask us to consent to and participate in and even get stoked. Again, the butterfly in balance is excited to get stoked for our own transformation. To embody tapas is to want with a heart on fire. It is said that the most enlightened yogi and entrepreneur have something in common. They're both infused with the spirit of tapas, working towards a goal. Excited, ready, hearts on fire with desire. So what are you working towards right now? What's your goal? What do you want? Who do you need to become in order to be a match for that wanting? What wings and consciousness do you need to allow yourself to grow in order to meet the transformation, meet the goal, meet the wanting, meet the desire that's calling you? And I know sometimes transformation, that goal, that thing feels even impossible or out of reach. What I want to introduce here is that it's important to note that energy can also be created while remaining perfectly still. That humbled to the divine stillness and presence, where we get quiet enough to hear our own higher self instructions. So to meet the transformation doesn't mean to get really busy. To get into self-care doesn't mean to get really busy. Sometimes it means, you got to get still and connect to your breath. And you have to get quiet so that you can actually hear the wisdom underneath all of the panic and the frantic and the chatter and the commotion and the fear and the ego. All of that noise. Transformation is also quiet. There's a peacefulness. There's a mystical, quiet, tender thing that happens inside of that chrysalis. The instructions that you receive are going to sound really different from a fear-based versus a love-based lens versus a higher self-based lens. So in transformation, we're also being called to put on our higher self ears and our higher self eyes. The next invitation supporting us in how can we actually do this is through the remembering, with the help of Rita of Cassia, the patroness of impossible causes, that we are miraculous. And our prayers create powerful channels of possibility. I'm still learning this new webcam. It looks like it needs to come back into focus. Here we go. Coming into focus. Maybe if I pause. Okay, maybe it'll come back. Prayer is such a humbling practice, yeah? It can be as complicated or as uncomplicated as you want. I personally know in my experience of journeying with prayer that it can be a really humbling practice. Hold on, I gotta pause this recording because this out of focus is driving me nuts. Okay, we're back. So prayer is a humbling practice, yeah? It can be as uncomplicated or as complicated as you want. Like, that's the truth of prayer. There's so many folks, practices, traditions that'll say this is the way it needs to be done. I'm an advocate of your own higher self-wisdom and your sovereignty, and I come from the perspective that, like, you know how to pray, you just forgot. Especially if you haven't done it in a while. It's like anything, right? Maybe not even in this lifetime. Prayer can be triggering because it's like, who do I pray to? What's the right way to do it? And I'm going to invite you to not pray to anything outside of you, but to actually use prayer to connect deeper to your own self and your own understanding and connection to what that source and higher self energy is. There are no rules, at least in the Blood, Bone, and Honey Temple, when it comes to prayer. I find that prayer, like many things, is learned through practice. So do we only pray, or do we only self-care in moments of desperation? Or do we practice prayerful listening? Do we take care of ourselves in all moments? When we're in an active practice of prayerful listening, prayerful action, which is to say, we listen and wait to receive the guidance before we respond. We wait and listen to hear the answer to our prayer before we move. Or we are already in motion and we resource the power of our prayer to guide us as we walk in faith, maybe not knowing what's going to happen next, but in the prayerful, faithful knowing that we are divinely protected, supported, and connected to a larger divine force at all times. Do we practice that in all moments? The more we practice that, the more familiar it's going to be to our bodies, and the more easy it's going to be to resource that in every moment. Since we're in the fire, I'm going to invite you to pray, not even from just your heart, right? Like, it's not just like prayer in the heart and the upper chakras. Like, bring this into the belly. Pray from your belly. Connect to that wanting and those questions. Like, let yourself ask the questions that are on your body, that are inside of your body, that are arising from your body and from your belly. Ask for what you need help with. Ask for what you need support with. You can quite literally task your higher self. Ask source. Connect to your guides. Ask for the signs and the symbols and the messages and the guidance. Ask that it be revealed to you. Be in that I am a child of the divine space. And from that place, from that humbled place of like, I am here, I am on my knees, I am in surrender, I am praying, I am willing, I am more interested in what the divine will of my higher self and how the divine will of my higher self would have me move than the infinite ways the free will of my humanity would have me move. I want to walk that path, the path of my higher self. From that place, you listen and then respond. Listen, Rita of Cassia, this witch had a tough life. As a little girl, she wanted to join a convent. She was forced to marry at the age of 12. There was family feuds. Her husband died. Her kids died. We got the bubonic plague raging. But she remained in faithful, steadfast prayer. She let the light be greater than what she knew. She stayed open to possibility. And even in the most dire of situations, she let the divine work and weave its way through her life, and ended up actually joining the St. Mary Magdalene convent at the age of, I think it was like at the age of like 36 or something. So for, from 12 to 36, she's like in the fires of like, can she hold the vision of joining the convent? And finally, after all of these initiations, which is very akin to Mary Magdalene's ministry of like walking through different initiations in order to actually embody our higher self. So Saint Cassia is going through this transformation. Saint Rita is going through this transformation, not Saint Cassia. Saint Rita is going through this transformation from 12 to 36. And finally at 36, she gets to go where she's wanted to go since age 12, which is this Saint Mary Magdalene convent. And then legend relates when she lands there, as she's meditating on Christ consciousness at the age of 60, a ray of light pierces her between the eyes, and it's said that this stigmata remained until she died. So what does this teach us? This shows us, Saint Rita is showing us to never give up on what it is that we actually want for ourselves. That wanting, that desire is so divinely delivered that if we can remain in steadfast presence and devotion with it, it will happen. She asks, what do I believe is possible for my life? That's the prompt on this card. What a great journal prompt. What do I believe is possible for my life? Saint Rita also speaks to what is possible on the other side of transformation. So who do you become within the transformation? The transformation being a sacred technology within itself. The transformation itself as a fertile incubation to grow your faith, to grow your trust, to grow your devotion. Some say that this whole, journey through the mystery school of life is all for the evolution of our souls. So how could anything actually be against us if it's all for the transformation, alchemy, and ascension of our own soul's light? There's this famous saying, God only gives you what you can handle. In this case, let's say our higher selves. So pray and connect to your higher self. Connect to God, Goddess, Source, the universe, the multiverse, the primordial your understanding of that divine loving energy. Sit in capital P presence. And in that presence, in that faithful trust, that what you want is also seeking you. What you are seeking is also seeking you. And what's between that is the activation and initiation of your transformation. Let the peace that passeth all intellectual understanding flood and guide you. Let it warm the parts of you that have been historically frozen. Ask for support and guidance and signs and symbols. It's your divine right. I'm always tasking my higher self. I'm like, higher self, this shit's hard. I'm gonna need some guidance. It's your divine right. You got this. You get to meet this transformation. You get to meet this evolution. You get to meet this metamorphosis. You get to meet this growth in your sovereignty and your power, and you're not alone. There's infinite earth angels standing next to you, wings open, flanked, honey. We are on these front lines. And again, if you want support in moving through this, I'm going to open up the private mentorship enrollment process next month, taking a couple of high-level priestesses and earth angels who are really ready to just go the fuck in on their transformation and evolve at the top of next year, just like really in their power, in their peace, in their sovereignty, connected to their higher selves, etc. I'm going to talk more about that on the next devotional drip. But if you want a personal invitation from me when I open enrollment for this, drop your email below, either in the comments on the blog, in the comments on YouTube, or send me an email, Sarah with an H at bloodboneandhoney.com. And I look forward to serving you more and deeper as time goes on. Thank you for joining me for episode 3. I'm loving this. This has really, honestly, this series has really opted me into my own transformation. This is something I've been dreaming about for a long time, but had been bringing up a lot of fear and resistance in my system. And I met the fear, I met the resistance, I did the thing, and I'm so glad. So leading from example, leading from a somatic understanding of how hard the call of transformation, the call of up-leveling, the call of becoming, the call of following what it is, what our higher selves are actually calling us to, can be and is from that place. I just commend you and I celebrate you, and I hope that it provides encouragement on your own journey. And again, below this video, you're going to find a link to my blog where I've provided you with higher self embodiment journal and movement prompts, plus a playlist. It's so good, you guys, to support you in a deeper level of reception and digestion and integration of what's coming forward for you with this message of transformation at this time. Here's to meeting the personal transformation that is calling you. I love you. I'm cheering you on. I'm here for you. Please reach out, connect, let me know how this resonated for you. Feedback really helps me in helping you. So don't be a stranger, say hello. Follow the Blood, Bone, and Honey channel for updates. As this channel grows, there's definitely going to be some exciting things happening, so stay in the loop so you never miss a drip. Sign up for the email list. Newsletter link is also below, and follow along on Instagram. If you happen to find this through YouTube and you're not a part of the Instagram community, there's some fun stuff happening there as well. So see you soon. Many blessings, so much love, and you fucking got this. Bye.